Hello guys, I am back from another video, and today we talk about what if Belle had a symbiote. So in the last video, we talked about how after Belle basically escaped with his his virginity intact, and also basically getting unnoticed by Hestia after they basically left to see what Kodo was doing. After telling Mikoto about what happened there, and also telling her that that's probably the Haruhime from her childhood, well, she was quite interested and decided to go back there, or at least later. So shenanigans ensued as Belle was basically captured as Belle was basically captured for the purpose of basically pissing off a certain Freya. So after a while of shenanigans and also trying to save Haruhime from basically being killed by them, well, Bell would be instantly fricked because at the time he was basically weakened to the point that he couldn't just fight. And as for the um you know for the help of Makoto would arrive as she would decide to help Bell to basically try and free Haruhime. So, after getting captured again by the Ishtar Familia's guards and also Ishtar trying to charm him, well, it turns out his skills allow him to basically not get charmed by her. So that's convenient, as he basically flies away and basically defeats Rhina. Not defeats Rhina, more defeats the rest of the guards because, Rhina's basically busy with, Mikoto. After being defeated by Mikoto by, I don't know, using her self-destruction skill, and also Bell basically defeating the rest of these, Ishtar Familia members, and also destroying the Killing Stone. Well, Bell decided to just sit down on the floor of the sacrificial site, as he's basically holding well um Haruhime in his arms. And so that was basically the end of this episode. And so let's talk about what happens next. So we're gonna be moving to a different perspective. So during the whole fight between him and also the members of the Ishtar Familia, apparently there's let's just say the entire brothels, the entire Ishtar Familia headquarters is basically being burned down thanks to the help of Freya. Apparently she actually knew about the plan, and she was kind of, actually not even kind of, we're completely pissed that Ishtar was planning on, I don't know, basically seducing Belle. So she would bring out all of her forces and basically tell all of them to basically destroy the entire headquarters. Not only that, to also kill Ishtar herself. Yeah. Oh god. So they basically burned down the entire place. Basically, how do I say it? Yes, similarly to scorch earth tactics. They basically just burned the entire place down. Nobody, actually, some of them survived. Some members of the Ishtar Familia decided to defect and basically run away. And so that's basically what's happening right now. Many prostitutes and people that also work in the type of industry that Ishtar is basically working on, they basically ran away and basically started escaping the city. And as for a certain, I don't know, Hestia Familia right there is basically noticing it all by themselves. They basically just see it in the distance, seeing the burning of their city. Well, the guardsman is basically trying to try and stop them, but unfortunately not by themselves. Specifically, the Freya Familia is too strong for them. So, wait for a second. So, Aster Bell basically just like laying down, basically tired as all hell, as he would hear the sound of this. Hey, kid! You ruined our plans! You destroyed our lovely city! How dare you! As he would see, well, Reiner, aka the frog rapist, and I'm not even joking. Like, I just hate her in many ways. Just like she believes that she's like super beautiful, but in actuality, she looks like a freaking frog. I mean, Sue looks like a frog, but she looks like she can like hurt a fly at all. But for her, she looks like she can hurt the entire freaking village. So she looks completely pissed, surviving the surviving the whole Makoto explosion attack. As she would say this, "Hey, you, Renard, I want you to give me your power and buff me so I can kill this stupid kid." As for Haruhime, she was scared, as Belle would say this, "Don't you dare touch her." As she would say this, "Don't you dare talk to me. Now, you damn Renard, get your skills, give me all of your power. And if the next full moon, well, we can probably fix this. We can probably fix the killing stone, and then we can do the ritual all over again." As she looks scared, as Belle would say this, "Hey, wait for a second, hey Haruhime, if you don't want to do this, then don't. I'll save you, no matter what. Even if I die, I want all of you, or at least you specifically, to basically live on. So, if you want to be free, then please give me your help." As she would say this, "Alright." She would use her skill to basically like buff up, Belle, as Belle would feel significantly stronger, and all of his wounds are being healed by both Null and her, as he would start transforming into his, well, Black Knight form. As he would bring out his wings, as he would bring out all black, as, well, Reiner would say this, "What? You little," as Belle would say this, "Get away from her." As they would start clashing, like blade and also axe basically colliding, as sparks would basically come out of like their little like clash. They would start smashing into each other, using Belle's like gigantic ass claws to basically start clawing at her face. She would say this, my face, you," as she would start charging towards, not at Belle, but at Haruhime. He would start charging in, as he would sacrifice his arm to basically like save her. As Haruhime would say this, "Belle, your arm." As Belle would say this, "No need." As he would start creating tentacles, as these tentacles would start reattaching his arm. As he would say this, "That's just a flesh wound. And as for you, you damn so-called freak show over there, allow me to show you where Hell's Gate is." As he would start raising his hand, as he starts casting a spell. "Chains of binding. Bind this poor unfortunate soul for his sins." As she would start getting wrapped all over by these chains, as he says this, "Let the blood of the innocent be your judgment. Allow the Iron Maiden to be your executioner. Now, take this, Iron Maiden," as he would close close that arm into a fist, as she would start screaming, as she would kind of escape, but unfortunately both of her arms are basically crushed in the process. As she would start screaming in pain, as she would say this, "Why, you?" As Belle would say this, "Unfortunately, you lost. So, if you want to run away, then all due respect, do it. or if you want to stay and keep fighting, then I can certainly keep fighting right now. After all, I still have enough energy to basically kill an entire army. As his eye would start glowing immensely as he says this. So, do you want to tango or not? As she would look angry as all hell, as she would start escaping. So, let's move to a different perspective. Well then. So, Otar is basically like running through the streets of like the brothel, or more specifically the red light district of Ishtar's like little like headquarters, as he would look over and see Makoto basically wounded after her like self-sacrifice. So he would just lean down as he would grab a potion of healing, as he would just like open it and start spraying all over the unconscious body of Makoto with that potion. She would get instantly healed as Otar would start moving on. So, Otar would arrive at the large Ishtar Familia Tower as he would encounter Reiner, as she would say this. Huh? Oh, you're one of the members of the Freya Familia. Please, don't hurt me. As he would say this. As he would raise his blade as he says this. So, mind telling me where this Bell character is? As he would say this, Amici. You mean Bell Colonel, right? He's over there, in the, ritual site. As he would say this. Thank you. As he would start moving away, as for, Reiner, she would decide to do a counterattack by using her own mouth to basically wield her weapon, being the axe. As she gets ready to strike on him, he would basically cut the axe in half. As she would say this, please don't hurt me. I'll do anything. I'll even, I'll even use my body. I'll do anything. I'm even better than that, than your stupid goddess. Yeah. As when Otar hears that, just like in the anime, he gets pissed off. He would say this. You dare call our goddess not as beautiful as you? How heretical! As he starts becoming mad, as his eyes become pure red, with no like pupils, as he would say this. You dare to call yourself beautiful? You're nothing more than vain and disgusting! As he would start charging forward, as he would basically use his blade to basically crush her skull. As she screams out in pain. Yeah, say goodbye to her. I mean, nobody really likes her, so... Anyway, so let's move to a different perspective, well then. So, let's go back to Bell. Bell, after that whole fight, is left vulnerable, as he would realize that Aisha is basically there, as she's basically holding Haruhime hostage. As Bell would say this. Wait, you're... As she would say this. Yep, it's, well, wait for a second. Yeah, it's me, Aisha. So, because my whole city's burning, I want to have a last fight with you. If you win, I'll let you, have her back. And if you lose, you have to leave immediately. So, do we have a deal? As Belle would say this. Why do I think that you're gonna cheat? As she would say this. No, I'm not gonna cheat, obviously, so... I mean, besides, this entire place is about to burn down, so why not, decide not to cheat? I mean, it's actually pretty much worthless anyway. So, want to fight, then? As Belle would say this. Obviously, I want to save her. As, when she hears this, she would say this. Very well. Then, let's fight. As they would start charging at each other, as both of their blades basically clash. His claws are basically like clawing at her sword, as she would say this, "Huh, you're strong, but unfortunately, you're not as strong as me. A level well a level 3, or at least I think I remember her as a level 3, or was it level 4? Anyway, as Belle would say this, "Oh really?" As he would basically charge over, as he would start punching her right in the face, she would say this, "Dang, you're strong." As Belle would say this, "Yeah, that is obvious. After all, I am fused with the god." As she would say this, "Fused with a god? What do you mean by that?" As Belle would say this, "Well then, allow me to show you. Come out, Null." As Null would say this, "What is it, Belle?" As Aisha would say this, "The..." As Belle would say this, "Meet Null, the god of darkness and the abyss. Now, Null, give me all black." As he would say this, "With pleasure." As he would say this, "With this power, I will gladly defeat you and take Haruhime back, no matter what." As she would say this, sorry about that. Um, yeah, she would say this, "How admirable. Let this final battle be your best one." As Belle would just say this, "You too." As they stand off, both of them just start charging at each other as we move to a different perspective. So, this perspective is basically on Hermes, as Hermes is seeing the entire place burn to the ground, as he would say this, what a disappointment. I actually really like this place." As one of them, or specifically her, or his captain, would say this, "Why are you doing this in the first place? Why are you even helping Belle in the first place, like, in the first place anyway?" As he would say this, "Well, isn't that obvious? I'm actually wanting him to become a true hero. I want him to become a powerful hero at that. I mean, it is the late wishes of, well, Mr. Yeah, Mr. Zeus." As she would say this, "Wait, you mean that Zeus? As in the first number one, like, Familia? The literal god of the first Familia, right?" As he would say this, "Yes, pretty much. And we were actually best friends until he sort of went downhill. He wished for me to basically take care of this child by the name of Belle, and it turns out to be this guy. And he's quite have grown into a powerful hero at that. So I'm just hoping that he becomes, like, really strong. So, anyway, let's keep watching the fight, shall we?" So, Belle is currently keep fighting, Miss Aisha, as he would start bringing out more weapons at that point. He would start shooting out more fire bolts at her, as she would still keep slicing them in half, as she would say this, "Huh, just because you're fused with God doesn't mean that you're actually that powerful." As Belle would say this, "I guess you're right, but I'm actually quite resourceful, so allow me to show you then." As he would stab, all black into the pillar that he's standing on, as he would stab it. As when he stabs it, several tentacles would go into, like, the thing, or into, like, the pillar, as several tentacles would basically just, like, come out of the ground where Aisha is standing, as these tentacles would start charging towards her, and one of these tentacles would grab her as she starts getting flinged all over the place, similar to, like, Loki in, like, the Marvel movies. Like, if you don't know, just imagine that whole scene where, like, Hulk is basically just like, I don't know, basically, like, using Loki as, like, a goddamn punching bag. He basically just like after that whole scene, he just says a puny god. Just like just imagine him doing like that, but except with the null symbiote. Wait for a second. As Bell would just say this, take this, as he would create a slash right in front of her. But he doesn't cut her in half. As Aisha would say this, what? Why didn't you kill me? I mean, I did do some horrible stuff to you, like... As Bell would just say this, I know you're not doing this on your free will. It's Ishtar's fault, right? As she would say this, what? How do you... As Bell would just say this, Haruhime told me about that. And I want you to just leave here. Just leave now. I don't want you getting hurt, okay? So, just leave. As Bell would start carrying the unconscious body of, well, Haruhime, as he would say this, and besides, I won. So, see ya. As he would start craning his wings and start flying away. As Aisha would say this, see ya. And you're quite the keeper. So, let's move on to a different perspective, shall we? So, let's go to the different perspective that I was talking about. In this case, well, Freya and Ishtar. Freya is basically going through the floors of her tower, as several of the guards would start charging towards her, but unfortunately her unimaginable beauty would basically control them, or basically stop them from hurting her. As Ishtar would say this, how? How? That would mean that you're more beautiful than me. No, this is impossible. As she would say this, but unfortunately it's true. Now, as for your other guard over there, as she would use her eyes, or her beauty, in this case, to basically control him, as she would tell her former guard, specifically Ishtar's former guard, to basically Ishtar, as she would say this, hey, put me down! As Ishtar would just look at Freya with this angry look, as Freya would say this, and as for you, Ishtar, nobody gets in my way with Bell. Even though this little child, aka, well, wait for a second. Even though Hestia is keeping Bell away from me, I allowed it. Because, after all, she was a familiar link to Bell. So why not? And for you to dare and try and destroy that link, I couldn't have it. So, unfortunately, you're gonna die here. As she would say this, no, no, as she would be kicked off the edge, or in this case, slapped just like in the anime, by Ishtar as she would start falling down to the ground, as there's a beam of light, signifying that she's being called back to heaven, never to go back to the mortal world ever again. So, after that whole incident, all of them would start leaving as the entire Ishtar family is basically gone. Because after all, Ishtar is basically gone back to heaven. As for the other gods, they would be impressed on what happened. So, yeah. Every single member of the Ishtar Brimvilia, well, they would start leaving. Except for the ones that didn't survive. So, yeah. So, that is basically what happened. As everybody would start going back to their respective homes. In this case, Aurario. So, yeah. So, this is going to be the end of the episode. Unfortunately, this is going to be the end. And also, tomorrow's probably going to be the last episode of this series because I'm not going to be doing the season 3 because season 3 was one of my least favorite seasons of Danmachi, not gonna lie. The whole like subplot of like the Xenos, I mean it's cool of an idea, but no thanks. So yeah, unfortunately this is going to be the end of this episode. And so, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!